Today's verdict is due in large part to the tenacity of E. Jean Carroll, who declared it, quote, a great victory for everyone who stands up when she's knocked down, a huge defeat for every bully who's tried to keep a woman down. She went on to credit her amazing legal team for the win. You can see her leaving the courtroom with key members of that team after the verdict came down. I'm all leaving the courthouse after the verdict. That's E. Jean Carroll in the middle with her lawyers Robbie Kaplan. Robbie Kaplan's on the right of your screen, and Sean Crowley. Sean Crowley joins me live here on set tonight. It's great to have you here.
So great to be here.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
You came into the studio beaming a smile that was clearly authentic and coming from the deepest part of you.
It's been a good day.
I guess first, did you anticipate this, basically, after the week that you had?
You know, it's really hard to predict what juries are going to do. I think we certainly anticipated that they would believe E. Jean Carroll's testimony. It was credible. It was moving. Did we expect that the punitive damages award would be quite so high? I don't really know. I mean, the way that Donald Trump conducted himself throughout this case and then throughout this trial, storming in and out of the courtroom, shaking his head, saying things very loudly when he was sitting in the back, leaving the courtroom to repeatedly defame Miss Carroll while the trial was going on. The jury saw and heard all of those things. So we expected that there would be some award that would be high enough that they would think maybe we should actually penalize him and get him to stop doing this.
So that was going to be my next question about his behavior here. And you're not a psychologist. You just have to deal with it. But did you have like a tactical posture? Honestly, about what to do about this? Because I can't imagine as a litigator, even as a prosecutor, you've ever faced something quite like this, have you?
I haven't, no.
I mean, people don't do this in courtrooms. They just don't.
Usually people who come into courtrooms for trials stay for the trial. They don't walk out furiously and come in and say things when the jury can hear them. I haven't encountered anything like this before.
And so I guess the question becomes, like, to the extent there's any, method to the madness, I don't think there is. I think it's actually just incontinent ability to self-regulate. What you do with it as attorneys and how you sort of keep on track. Like, was there a strategy for that?
Our strategy was really just to remember that we were in a court of law and that we were trying this case to the jury and in front of a judge. I think Donald Trump's strategy was much bigger than that. He wasn't really as concerned with what was happening in the court of law, and he was much more concerned with what was happening with his followers and fan base and at his rallies. So we just tried to focus on what we were actually doing and not get too distracted by the antics going on around outside.
I want to show you an image that one of our producers took a picture of this evening. I think we have it. Let me know if we do. There it is. This is outside Trump Tower here. 83.3 million. Ha ha ha. Keep talking, loser. That was chalked outside the Trump International Hotel in New York City. I thought you'd get a kick. You'd have to respond to it. I thought you'd get a kick out of it. Tell me about, what happens next here, right? So his lawyer came out and said, we've got great grounds for an appeal. I mean, obviously, lawyers are always say that. They always say they're going to appeal. Obviously, you get an appeal under due process in the same way you might in a criminal case. So what's the next step here?
So we have every expectation that they will appeal. We feel very good about our arguments on appeal. We actually, as you said, there was a trial last year about the actual sexual assault and another defamation. And there, the jury not only found that he'd sexually assaulted her, but also awarded E. Jean Carroll $5 million. That case is already on appeal. The money has been paid into the court. And so once, we hope we win the appeal, that money will go to Ms. Carroll. This case, likewise, will be appealed. We feel confident in our arguments, and ultimately, she will collect that judgment. Yeah,
I don't want to be like, this is a little minutia, but I actually want to get into it because I think there's always some sense. It's like the Roadrunner, like above never falling, where it's like, is he going to have to pay up? And so my understanding of the procedure is there's like sort of basically like escrow where like you have to pony up the money into some account that sits there until the appeal's done. Is that correct?
That's basically correct.
So like he's not going to be able to, unless he wins on appeal, he's going to have to pay this money.
He's going to have to pay at least a big portion of this money before he even wins on appeal. It has to be there to be certain that it's going to be there when we win the appeal. And then certainly after the appeal is, we hope we're victorious on appeal, he's going to have to pay it.
Can we talk about the pace of this? So this starts in 2019. One of the things I was talking about on this program last night is about the cliche that the wheels of justice grind slow but exceedingly fine. You've been a lawyer, you've worked in both criminal and civil contexts. I mean, I'm just sort of awestruck by the endurance at some level. Like, it's 4 years of her life, E. Jean Carroll. What is your conclusion about how long this takes to get this accountability?
So this case has been very long, but for extraordinary reasons. E. Jean sued Donald Trump for something that he did first while he was president, for defaming her while he was president. And because of that, he defended the case for many years, basically saying, first he got the Department of Justice to intervene on his behalf. That didn't work. And then he claimed, well, you can't sue me for something that I did while I was president. And then he claimed, well, I made those statements, but I was acting within the scope of my employment as president.
My official duties. It was my official duties to lie about and defame this woman who accused me of sexual assault.
Right. And so that took a while. It wound its way through the courts here in New York. It took a detour to D.C. for a while, and it came back. The other case actually moved extremely quickly.
Because just to be clear, and people probably don't know this. So the first is, E. Jean Carroll publishes the book, President defames her.
That's correct.
She sues him.
Yes.
Says, I want to go into court and prove this allegation that I'm telling the truth and you're defaming me when you say I'm lying.
Right.
And he used all of the powers of the presidency to protect himself. Then he gets out of the White House, and what happens?
A few days before his deposition in that case in October of 2022, he defames her again. He says basically the same thing. And by that time, New York had actually passed a law that allowed survivors of sexual assaults that had happened a long time ago to sue. It opened a one-year window where they could do that. So E. Jean filed another lawsuit in November of 2022, suing him both for the underlying sexual assault and for his defamation in October of 2022. That case was filed November on Thanksgiving Day, I think, or the day after of 2022, and went to trial last May.
Now, this one comes back around. He is no longer president. Whatever civil immunity he may have had is gone. Side note, you can understand why a person who's just had an $83 million judgment would love to be president again with the cloak of legal protection that gave him in the past. Just a note. Ultimately, what is the lesson here, though, about accountability?
I hope and I believe very strongly after today that the lesson is that actually no one's above the law, and that your behavior and your statements and your threats and your lies are going to catch up to you someday.
I have to say, I've not had an opportunity to meet your client, but I am completely in awe of her fortitude and endurance, and ecstatic on her behalf. Although I think you've said this, that she would trade it to not have been defamed in the first place.
Yeah, she said that on the stand. I mean, I think it was certainly very important to her to come forward and then to defend herself when he called her a liar and defamed her. But the reputation that she has now is, among a very large group of people, really ruined by Donald Trump. And what she really wants is to be that journalist and advice columnist that she was before he lied about her.
Sean Crowley, you and Robbie Kaplan did amazing work. Congratulations on a well-earned victory from my perspective. Happy birthday. It's a nice birthday gift.